the sea is the biggest alkaline thing on Earth, and that's the salty, that's alkaline. And so you need to balance it every day with every meal, actually. So as far as the industry and health, now, like say, for example, hemp has been a big industry for the last, thousands of years, actually. But it was outlawed in the States in the 1930s.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, hemp is still actually grown. It started reborn in the 70s because of the hippies, and now it's being grown in Europe and in Canada, but not in the States. Because the chemical industry controls. But your thing about the slavery thing, the book Sugar Blues is still in print. And it's been in print now for about 30 years, and it explains what you were mentioning about the sugar wars, how the industry had started in, with the big ships coming over here. See, like when they started doing the African slavery thing, and then that's when the sugar industry began, and it really was one of the first early things that really corrupted and sickened the European people. And it would be curious to see if they actually had sugar in Europe during the Black Plague.
Yeah,
that's the kind of thing that we look for, is the connections between the diet and health.
That's right. That's right. And speaking of hemp, I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but I've heard at least that the plants are actually very good for actually cleaning the earth or cleaning the soil even, and that the hemp manage in some way to actually extract a lot of toxins from the earth. Have you heard about that? Is that
well? A lot of plants are, and there are hundreds of plants that we use for restoring the fertility of the soil. And there's nitrogen-fixing plants that collect nitrogen from the air. And it's a big paradox that hydrogen and nitrogen, which are pretty much everywhere in space, at least around the planets. Now, in outer space, they're not so much. Hydrogen, it actually is in outer space. But nitrogen around the Earth, we need that for our bodies. Nitrogen is a part of protein. But a lot of plants collect it, and they're called nitrogen-fixing plants, and they collect it in their roots. But that's the only way we can actually gather. I mean, it's a real paradox. It's all around us, and yet we can't get into our cells, but we have to eat it.
Yeah, that's the way it is.
Kind of absurd there. But the hemp has more uses. Hemp and bamboo have more uses than any other thing on Earth. There's a book which I've been studying bamboo since the 70s. Well, no, actually in the 80s I started studying bamboo. And there's 1,500 uses totally, not in one place, for bamboo. And there's probably 100 uses for hemp, totally, of all the different ways people use it.
Yep, I mean...
besides the food. And, I mean, people in the West, we've lost touch with nature. During World War II, they actually started rebirthing farms for hemp in the States because they needed fiber for rope. That's what it was. And they also canvas. Canvas was started with the hemp a couple hundred years ago. I don't know exactly when it started, but a long time ago it started making canvas out of hemp fiber. Hemp fiber is the best fiber in the world for making many, many things. And they say the U.S. Constitution was made on hemp, that Jefferson grew hemp, Washington grew hemp. Hemp was the biggest industry in the States around the time when the colonies became free. And it was outlawed in the States in 1937, and then they restarted it in the 40s during World War II because they needed rope for fiber, and they needed hemp for canvas. And a lot of the cloth at that time was hemp. We find that hemp is the best cloth. I mean, it's fantastic, and there's different kinds of it too. And even use it for building materials. And it's good for health if you use, the the leaves of that herb. It's just another herb, really.
Yeah. Well, that's amazing. It's very, very strong, as you say. That's why they used it as rope in the beginning, and all the again the paper industry. I think some of the first use of paper over in Asia and especially in China, they used hemp for make the way back when the most delicate paper basically. So yeah, you're right. It's a big industry, and it's a shame that this isn't brought back. I know that Germany have been fighting a lot to get this, the industry going in that sense again. And I think overall, I guess it was outlawed in the beginning because of the THC in the plants, but there are so many different kinds of hemp also, meaning that just because you grow hemp, that doesn't mean that you can use it for drug use. Isn't that right?
Well, actually, see, herbs are not drugs. Drugs are manufactured. Herbs are natural. Nature grows them. Hemp has been had more uses for medicinally, health, building, structures, rope, fiber, and farming. It's really good for producing mulch to feed the soil. Mm-hmm. Mulch is anything that you put into the soil that's natural, that it's grown, you put into the soil. And we need to do that. When we do farming, we need to put the organic matter back into the soil. And in the West, what they've done is they've used chemicals so that they've actually ruined the soil with the chemicals. And you were talking about hemp restoring the fertility of the soil. There's other things as well that we do that. When I was in India, manure, for example, here's a really good thing about permaculture, using animal manure for feeding the soil. Now, we do that when the animals, they do it when animals graze out in the fields, but also if the animals are pooping, then we collect the poop and we put it on the soil. And it's very, very fertile. It's extremely, well, when they outlawed hemp, it was done for the paper industry. Actually, it was 10 industries that all conspired together to outlaw hemp. Mm-hmm. Including the medical and the chemicals and the plastics and all that. So the whole synthetic industries have replaced hemp. That's why the hemp was the biggest thing they had to get rid of to be able to make all the synthetics and then sell them to us. So the whole Western civilization now is based on synthetics, imported, manufactured things. We have 10 or 20,000 factories for the synthetic reality. It's a phony reality. It's based on something you have to buy. It's based on phony markets, stocks, and banks and money and all that. And we just need the local economy where we trade things. And this is people say, well, this is a futuristic hippie pipe dream. I'm sorry, this is not doable. Well, with peak oil, you study peak oil and you see how wasteful it is and how it's based on war. Take your choice.
Don't you think that they have new solutions for the energy crisis in store, meaning that they're gonna pump this thing with the oil now for as long as they can, no pun intended there, but in that sense that they push up the prices now as heck, as much as they can, and they say that it's running out very, very soon, so they keep that kind of fear mentality also right there. But I mean, if it were to actually go dry with all the oil, I would imagine that they have endless of new solutions, new energy solutions out there to keep this kind of lifestyle that we have right now going. Or do you think that it actually will collapse? I mean,
well, see, at this point, I don't really care if it collapses. And you were talking about the oil and stuff. The supply of oil is the blood of industry. Electricity is the nerves of industry. Okay? Mm-hmm. So, and actually, electricity is also a power. It isn't just the nerves, like the control thing, but it's also the blood in a strange kind of way. Mm-hmm. So, what they're doing, though, is they want to keep the price of oil down so that people will buy it. And the strange thing is that there's so many things made of oil. I mean, it's just unbelievable. There's thousands of things made of oil. And it isn't just the fuel for the cars and your home heating and all that.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
see, since the coal, there's so many people now, and since the coal is going down, well, actually still using a lot of coal, but that's why the oil, see, the coal, oil, electricity, those are and then nuclear power. It's a fantastic synthetic reality. And they pride themselves on creating that stuff. It's like, yes, we are gods. We are creating these things. We build these factories. We can crank out anything. We're replacing nature. Well, it's an egomaniac. It's a technophile. You know, a technology. People love technology. That's the religion of technology. It's a religion of science. Mm-hmm. We love the big monster solutions. Oh yes, science will always invent new things to fix any problem that we've created. Well, nature doesn't create problems. Oh yes, we've got storms and floods and fires and droughts and all that. So if you just look at what are the effects, how do we ruin our biosphere and our ecology with all these things? And like paper, for example, paper is a tremendous waste. I use too much paper here with all my writing and stuff. Mm-hmm. But hemp, you can make paper out of it. Now we have hemp here. I mean, this is really absurd. We have hemp paper here that's imported from Canada, and hemp things are imported, hemp fiber and cloth imported from China. Mm-hmm. Now, it's cheap oil to get that here. Well, people say, no, the price of oil is too high. But it actually is low. If you see, we've been subsidizing on the oil industry here. Mm-hmm. So to keep the price down, I mean, it's so absurd. Everything is artificial. Mm-hmm. But if you're really, if you love technology, you know, more, then you say, well, that's great. We're doing, you see, it's a culture clash. We're actually having culture wars, culture crash, because the value system, and that's why there's all these, well, people say, well, this is just a hippie plan. Well, no, it's nature. And we replaced nature. You see, the cities have replaced nature, most of the things except for your gardens. So it's like your values. What do you really value in life? Mm. And if you trust the empire people, like the same people that brought you sugar from slaves, I mean, it's the same kind of thing. And the factories have wage slaves in them. And Fuller calls factories wage slaves and technology are energy slaves. Mm. It's a control game. Do you want to use something that's really healthy? People don't feel how healthy or unhealthy things are. They just get sick and don't know why. Isn't that strange? People get sick and not know why.
Yeah.
It happened to me for 30 years.
That's interesting. And I mean, what comes to mind is the fact that with this idea or even political philosophy almost of the new world order, in a sense that everything is going to unite under one banner and everything is, you know, in that sense, even though we get the illusion of that there is, you know, diversity in that sense in the world, it feels like everything is kind of converging towards just one point, homogenize everything and all that. Do you think that there will be like spaces still left in that sense on the earth where people will be able to do this and the thing that they want and have that real freedom or I mean, it seems to me
real
like...
Real freedom, there you go. See, that's the question. What is real freedom? You know, it's the freedom to shop. It's the freedom to drive. It's the freedom to escape. It's the freedom to own and control and lock your doors because you're afraid of the lower classes. See, it's all these controls that in the empire, it's the religion of empire, the technology, gives you controls, but then it's based on fear. Fear of the cops, fear of the laws, fear of the crime, fear of the enemies, fear of invasion, fear of nature. I mean, it could go on. I did a study when I was doing a lot of therapy and healing work of how many fears people have. How many fears does the average person have? Could you guess?
500,000 probably. I don't know.
Well, now his first guess was 100, second guess 1,000, 100,000. My survey, which I did, was I collected fears for a few years, and then I wrote up a list of